How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel and to DC Talking Points. So today, I want to talk about mostly action figure related stuff, although there is a little bit of DC TV and obviously comic book stuff in today's episode as well, but most of it's going to be action figure related. Alright, so I'm just going to cut to the chase right here and drop the bad news bomb right away, and that's that the DC Collectibles Lucha Explosiva series, that is DC Comics characters reimagined in the style of Mexican wrestlers, that series has been cancelled. It's been axed. It will never see the light of day. It's DC Collectibles. What do you expect? That's what they do. How many awesome figures have we, or even series, have we never seen the light of day? If you remember the DC Universe Online, there was supposed to be an action figure line based on that we never saw. Half of the DC icons that they showed us in the past never saw the light of day. DC Collectibles has a nasty habit. There was a Wonder Woman 3-pack, I do believe, that was canceled. Oh, listen, we don't need to go through all the stuff that was canceled under DC Direct and then DC Collectibles. We know that there is a graveyard of things that we'll just never be able to own. And unfortunately, the Lucha Explosiva series has now been added to that as well. For as many figures as we were supposed to receive, there are now tombstones in the action figure graveyard of DC Collectibles. Thanks guys, we were looking forward to those. On a more positive note, we do have more images of the new up-and-coming Mafex Shazam action figure, and it looks, as stated before, it looks fantastic. Someone like me that does collect the higher-end action figures and not just the child-friendly ones finds this to be incredibly exciting because Mafex has really upped their game. I remember the Mafex Batman and Superman from Batman v Superman. In my opinion, they were terrible. However, if you bought the Justice League figures from Mafex, then you will also know that they upped their game by 1000%. The figures look better, they're more firm, they're not as jangly, their bodies are definitely in better proportion. That Superman and that Batman, the Flash, those figures are excellent in comparison to what the Batman v Superman figures were. So just by looking at this Shazam figure, I'm telling you, this one is gonna be a bang knockout of the park home run. For those of you who are MEZCO 1/12 Collective fans of their DC offerings, you'll be happy to know, and you've likely already seen this in Instagram and through other various action figure enthusiasts that make toy news videos like Toy News International, that the Aquaman figure, based more on his comic book appearance, the images have been revealed and he looks absolutely fan-diddly-tastic. Seriously, this is gonna go down as one of my absolute all-time favorite MEZCO 1/12 Collective DC figures. The sculpting looks fantastic, the uniform looks just as stupendous, and I'll be definitely pre-ordering him as soon as I can. For those of you who keep up with the actual foundational stories of the DC Universe, as in the comics, and you don't just watch the movies and the TV shows, which is fine, you'll be interested to know that there are some really cool and big things happening in the comics right now. I'm just going to talk about one thing in specific, and that is the events of the most recent Justice League comic. Out of all the stuff that we have learned in the previous issues and up until now, we've learned that Perpetua created the first of all living beings, her sons, the World Forager, the Monitor, and the Anti-Monitor. And the Perpetua, after creating them, was supposed to die. She was supposed to go away, but the Monitor finds out, after peeking his head into a bunch of the other multiverses, that their multiverse is unique in that Perpetua is an anomaly. All the other multiverses, the person who would have fulfilled, or the being, rather, who would have fulfilled Perpetua's role doesn't exist anymore. So Perpetua is sticking around, and not only is she sticking around, but she's raising an army to fight. To fight whom? Well, she's going to fight against the judgment of her multiverse against the Source. Her son, whom we all know as the Monitor from the first Crisis and the second, and pretty much the DC Universe since Crisis, he's existed and popped in and out of stories here and there. We learn that he's not on board with this whole idea of Perpetua being here, and that he needs to get in touch with the founders of the Source. Basically, the people who are even more powerful than Perpetua. Now, in the Monitor trying to stop the events that his mother is trying to bring to pass, he convinces both of his brothers, the World Forager and the Anti-Monitor, to get together to contact the Source to stop her, so that at least the multiverse can be saved while she burns at the hands of Judgment. To make a long story short, Perpetua shows up being hip to her son's tricks, knowing what he's planning, and tries to put a stop to it, but not before someone from the actual source, a big birdie, shows up and does what? Creates the source wall. That's right, her and her little army end up becoming the source wall. It is the foundation, the origin of the source wall. Not only was Perpetua taken from the source wall, but she is the origin of the source wall. And speaking of comics, here's this week's pull list. As far as the comics I'm going to be getting, you know they're going to be the super titles, the bat titles, and the justice titles in general. Those are the ones that I'm going to be grabbing. With anything else that is aside from that, like a Green Lantern or a miniseries that kind of catches my eye. Are you going to be picking up anything from this week's pull list? Let me know down in the comments below if you are and what it is. And finally, the trailer for the final episode, the season and show finale to Gotham, has hit YouTube. Now, for somebody who has fallen off of the Gotham train during season 1, it just wasn't my cup of tea. I would prefer my Bat universe to stay the Bat universe as I know it. And I'm aware that the TV universe exists in its own place. I get that. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. However, I do kind of poke my head in every once in a while just to see what's happening. And in this case, I'm pleasantly surprised and also a little perplexed, and I think that they're being a little bit cheeky too. Okay, let's just go right to the cheeky part. I think they're being cheeky because the Gotham universe's Joker, they can't actually call Joker. It's not the Joker. However, that looks like the Joker, except for like Joker who's gone through chemotherapy and his hair's all fallen out. It does. But except for they're not allowed to call him the Joker. Actually, I don't know how they got so far making this character, who is not the Joker, look and behave so much like the Joker. You'd figure that somebody along the line would have said, oh, wait a minute, no, you can't make this character look and behave so much like the Joker. The season definitely looks like it's going to be ending on a high note, and unlike Smallville, which gave us just a little tiny glimpse of an animated Tom Welling in the supersuit, and really just him pulling his shirt open was really the only time we got to see Tom Welling in the supersuit, because he refused to put it on, famously. It definitely seems like, especially judging by these leaked images and the trailer, that we're going to see a lot more of a Batman presence in the final episode. Enough so that I think that he'll count as a live-action Batman, and he'll have to be counted when you're doing your top 10 live-action Batman lists. It looks like it's going to be fun, and even though I haven't watched the show all the way through, I likely will turn up for that final episode just because I want to see Batman and I want to see how they make the Gotham universe then morph into the regular DC Batman universe. Or at least their version of it. And on that note, we will bring this episode of DC Talking Points to a close. Thank you so much everybody for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, please also take the time to leave a thumbs up on it so I know that I've done something right for you today. If you want to see more of my face and hands show up in your inbox, then I invite you to become a super friend and join the DC squad by hitting that red subscribe button. And if you do, consider dinging the bell so you get notified of when I put out new videos. Leave any comments you have down below in the comment section as usual, and I will see you next time. Have a DC day, everybody. Take care.